everyone, my name's Christy. Welcome to my corner. Thank you for joining me on this Flosstube Friday for Flosstube number 43. And I think I have, quite a bit to talk about today. I have gotten a lot of stitching done. I've started some new projects. I got some happy mail and a little bit of haul. I have Stitch MAYhem progress. I have a giveaway at the end. Yeah, I think that this is going to be a fun-filled episode. But before we get to that, I want to welcome in new subscribers. Thank you for joining me on my artistic and crafty adventures. And welcome back to everyone who has been hanging out with me for, however long you've been here. It's been great to get to know you here in the comments on YouTube and also on Instagram. And if you are not following me on Instagram, you can find me at Dr_Christy. I'll put that here. And that's where I post pictures of kind of my daily activities that mostly involve stuff I would show in a Flosstube, but it also includes things like baking and my walks around town with my dog and other things I find interesting. But I post like once or twice a day, so I don't spam you, don't worry. So if you're interested in seeing what I'm doing during the week, you can find me on Instagram, right here. This is a channel about embroidery and cross stitch and other textile crafts and baking and history and the history of all of those things. So if any of that is interesting to you and you are not subscribed, I'd love to have you subscribe and stick around. Yeah, lots of stuff today. So I kind of gave myself a little bit of a break this past week. For those of you who are new or don't know, I'm a college professor, and as I'm sure you all know, it's been really difficult for teaching professionals, right? And that's the whole gamut of all teaching professionals. It's been a very difficult academic year, and we have tried our best, but it's been very difficult. And throughout the whole year, we've just been kind of telling ourselves, at least I and my colleagues have been telling ourselves, that once we get, we just got to make it through this semester, make it through the year, make it through the semester. And we made it through the semester, and it still wasn't okay, right? Like I was still, recovering from like this collective trauma. I had some losses in my family in the past year. I still had tons of work to do. I was super stressed out. And so I think I've been suffering a little bit from depression. So I'm trying to work through that and figure out how to bring myself joy again. And so I decided to give myself a little break this week. I couldn't have a total break because I am teaching a summer class, which started last week. So we're in week 2 of my summer class, but that's a few hours a day, and then I spend most of my day stitching. So with all that being said, I have, I think, good progress on a lot of my projects. So I don't have any finished objects or fully finished objects, but I do have an almost finished object, which is not going to get an acronym because all objects for stitchers are almost finished. I don't know if you watch other Flosstubers, they and we often say, oh yeah, I'll get this done. This will be a quick stitch. And then 5 years later, there's still like 150 stitches left that just never get done. Anyway, so I have an almost finished object, which should be finished this weekend. In fact, I have 2 almost finished objects that should be finished this weekend, which will be really nice. So let me show you those first. The first one is my Sea Monsters sampler that I roll up like a savage and keep in a little tube. This is a sampler that I charted a couple weeks ago, and like all of my cross stitch charts, I got it from old manuscripts. And so this is from 3 different manuscripts, and this is what it's going to look like at the end. And the reason why I love this so much, well, the reason why I decided to make this a sampler and not just like my other cross stitch designs is because this alphabet, which I found in a late 18th century French manuscript at, I believe, the Bibliothèque Nationale de France, but it may have been the Archives Nationales. I'll find where I got it and put it here because I have it on my computer. But the thing I love about it, well, there are a couple things I love about it. The first thing I love about it is that for some reason it has 3 A's. I don't know why it has 3 A's. I can't figure out why it has 3 A's. 19th century French, 18th century French doesn't need 3 A's. I looked up French linguistics. I looked up other French alphabets. I put a call out to Twitter, like historical Twitter, which I'm active in, and no one could figure it out. So I love those 3 A's, which is where the name comes from. Thanks to Michelle G, Bendy Stitchy. She kind of coined it, and I'm like, that is genius. This is why you talk to professionals. The second reason why I love this is because it has 2 S's. It has a long S and it has a short S. And these S's were very common in like pre-1900 writing, and they serve different purposes. They sound the same, but they are like at different parts of the word. The long S is in the middle of words for the most part. There are more rules about this, but in general, long S's are in the middle of the word, short S's are at the end of the word. And so the short S is our normal S, and I love it so much. Anyway, enough about that. There's no J and no W because you don't need a J and a W in French in the 18th century. So that's what it looks like. And here is where I am now. Look how close I am. So last time you saw it, I feel like all this stuff was gone. And so all I have left are just like 1.5 lines of letters. And man, letters go really quick. This is my first time stitching letters, so I love it. Basically, these are sea monsters, and I expect that at least this is a whale. Medieval and early modern people had very strange visions of what whales looked like. And so that is a whale. I did kind of the design aspect of it. So here's a picture of the kind of original upper whale, and here is a picture of the original lower whale. And so you can see that I tried to make it a little bit more interesting because these are from lace patterns. They're from 16th century lace patterns. And with lace patterns, you can't really do shade. Well, you can do shades a bit, but you can't do a lot of kind of shading detail. And so I decided just to kind of make it more interesting for me to stitch and also for other people to stitch. Now, if you notice in the pattern, there's an extra alphabet at the bottom, and that's a modern alphabet. And I did that for a couple of reasons. Number one, I know that a lot of people don't like having weird alphabets in their samplers. The other reason I did it is because I made room for initials here. And there are a lot of names with J's and W's. So I wanted to make sure that everyone who wanted to could put their initials in the initial spots. So that's my sea monsters! Exclamation point sampler. And like I said, I just keep it in, you can't see what I'm doing, but I basically just like roll it up like a savage and keep it in a plastic tube. But this will be done in, I think I can knock this out this weekend. It's a very quick stitch. And I think that's why I like it. It's like it's only 3 colors. Oh, I'm stitching this on an 18 count Aida, white Aida that I got from Joann's or Michael's. I mean, it's like basic Aida. I'm sure it's DMC brand. It's being stitched in 3 DMC colors, and it's DMC 500, 562, and 564. But I do try to make my designs so that you can choose any 3 shades of any color to like match your decor. And I think before I put it up on my Etsy shop, I may kind of play around with 3 different colors that aren't shades, right? So like a pink, a green, and a purple, or something like that. So just to see what it looks like in like a rainbow, right? I mean, it's Pride Month, so maybe it's a rainbow, maybe it's a red, orange, yellow. Who knows? Who knows? So I will, so I'll play around with that. I'll finish that this weekend, and that should be available in my Etsy shop next Friday. I will you all will know first. How's that? It won't go up until next Friday's video. So that's my first almost finished object. My second almost finished object, I don't think I actually worked on it all this week. And that is my Lonely Mountain that I am embroidering on a cotton linen blend with the Gentle Art Sampler Thread corduroys. And this was a Stitchy Box exclusive color. And it's really great. It has this really nice tan, brown, almost dark gray variegated, which I really enjoy. And my goal is also to get this done by next week. All I have left is Mountain, this area up here, and then Smog, who I don't have his thread here, but he's going to be stitched in a bright red, maybe not bright red, but a very shiny red DeVere yarn silk, which I think will be lovely. Okay, I went and got the silk that I'm going to use for Smog, and it's going to be this really pretty, shiny DeVere Yarns red. I think it's going to be lovely. And now for the musical entertainment part of the show. Whenever I work on this, or when I think about working on this, I get that song I See Fire by Ed Sheeran stuck in my head. So I'm going to sing it for you. Well, the first part. So you can have it stuck in your head too. And this may get deleted. If it's really, really terrible, we'll find out. So just think about the lonely mountain. Oh, misty eye of the mountain below, keep careful watch of my brother's souls. And should the sky be filled with fire and smoke, keep watching over Durin's sons. And then it's the musical part. That runs through my head constant, like on a constant loop whenever I'm stitching on this project. So now it can be stuck in your head too. There you go. There's your little singing on Christy's Corner. It may never happen again. I would like to get this done this week. I saw the student, she's still around and she's excited about it. And so I want to give this to her. This is for an ex-student of mine who graduated last year, who is one of my all-time favorite students. And she mentioned that she wanted one. And so I am making one for her. So that will be fun and it's almost done. Those are my projects that I am closest to being done with, which I'm excited about. I was missing a project. I have 2 new starts. Well, I have a new start that I've started stitching, and I have a new start that I have kitted up and set up so that I can start stitching it. And it's kind of an experiment. So I'm going to start with my new start first, because those of you who have been with me for a while know that for my birthday, my fiance got me a Jacobean crewel work embroidery class from the Royal School of Needlework. And it is this pomegranate and flower combination. And I was saving it until I felt better, right? I was saving it until I could sit down with it, enjoy the stitching, enjoy learning new things. And that was apparently this week, because I have most of a pomegranate. Look at that. And this is using Appleton wool. This was all provided in the kit. Appleton wool on a linen twill. It's a upholstery weight, so it's very thick, linen twill. And so far I have done 2 different stitches. This is a lattice stitch in the middle, and then this is a raised stem stitch, which I've never done before. And it's funny because I subscribe to a daily embroidery newsletter. And she, who runs that newsletter, on like Monday or Tuesday, posted about this raised stem stitch. And I had never heard of it before. I'd never seen it before. And then the next day I started this and it was a raised stem stitch. So that was kind of nice. And it kind of reinforced new knowledge, which, you know, is always good. So that's my pomegranate. And next, I think, is the pomegranate leaves. And then there are kind of lines going through here. I'll show you the picture again. Right. So there are 2 lines going up and down inside. And then I have a pomegranate, everybody. So this was really fun and I had a really good time. And the back, it looks wild. Look how, it's so bizarre. There's like so little on the back, which is kind of genius. It's kind of genius. So that is my Jacobean crewel work class from Royal School Needlework, and it came in this nice kind of burlappy bag that I could totally stitch on, and which is good because it also came with a ton of Appleton wool in all different colors. My second new start that is an experiment and is ready to go, I am keeping in my bag that I got as a Happy Mail from Stitcher Trish. I'll put a link to her YouTube channel down below, and she has an Etsy shop, so I'll put a link to her Etsy shop down below too, where she sells bags and needle minders and scissor fobs and stuff like that. And this is kind of a restart of a previous start that I was very unhappy with, and it is this medieval bear, which comes from a medieval manuscript, and you can see he's like stealing honey, and the bees are really mad, and there's been kind of a bee theme going through crafting this year. Like bees are like the thing this year. And so I thought it would be nice to pick this up again. But if you notice, the top is all red and the bottom is like white with like green pieces. And this is a light, I didn't want to waste all of my ink. So this is a light copy. But I don't want to stitch solid red and I don't want to stitch solid white on this fabric, right? On my piece. So I was thinking like, how can I make it so that I have two different fabrics? And the way I do that is I have two different fabrics. And I got this idea from someone on Instagram. I'll put her Instagram name here. I can never remember what it is. But if you notice, you can see the bear, and this is sort of my stitching lines too. But basically, I took the background outline, I basting stitched it by hand together. And so I'll be stitching through 3 layers at the top and 2 layers at the bottom. And normally this would only be 1 layer, but I chose a very fine linen for the off-white because I like the color, but it was like too fine for what I'm doing. So it actually is backed by a square of cotton muslin. So this is quite a few layers. I don't think it'll be difficult to stitch through since they're all woven fabric. So it's not like, I don't know. I don't think it'll be difficult to stitch through, but I'm kind of excited to start this. So I'm going to start this week. I have my needles. I have my little shark needle binder. I need to make more of those. And I'm ready to go. And so here is my Medieval Bear color palette, which is greens and browns and beiges and golds. And I think it will be wonderful. So I'm very, very excited about this. I'm also excited because this is a piece that has kind of been languishing for quite a long time. So I'm happy to get this out and ready to go. Another thing I said last week that I wanted to work on is my scarf. And this is going to be this is a linen scarf that I'm going to embroider images from the Bayou Tapestry on. So like this little archer guy right here, that took a long time. And his friends, I'm going to have them march across here. And I had already started it, but I didn't like the size. I thought they were too small. So I decided to cut that whole end off and re-sew it, re-tassel it because it's all tasseled, and then start over bigger with bigger figures and fewer of them. And I didn't get as far as I wanted, which was the tasseling, but I did sew it. So it is ready to be frayed and tasseled. And I feel like that's an accomplishment. So I'm moving forward on this, just not very quickly. That is just hanging out in my plastic sleeve. And I worked on my temperature bookcase. Now I did not get as far as I had hoped, but I did finish May. And I love it. And you know, like we got in the 60s. So this is a new color. This is orange and it's 90s, 91 to 94, I think. That is 67. Ridiculous. And I'm really excited about this because the purpose of me designing this and stitching this was so that I could make my satin stitches better. Satin stitches are actually kind of difficult to get to lay flat, and I feel like I'm improving, and that makes me very happy. And this temperature pattern is available in embroidery version, which is like this, which will in the end look like this. And it's also available in a cross stitch version that looks like this in my Etsy shop down below. So if you're interested in stitching one of these, you can find it down below. I usually stitch this with my mom on Sundays, but again, my whole like feeling depressed kind of thing. I've been feeling a little overwhelmed. I've been feeling depressed. So I canceled that. We'll pick it up again this coming week and we'll get that taken care of. But I am through May and that makes me very happy. I think today I have a Stitchy Zoom date with some folks from Crafty Emily's Facebook group. And I think I might shift this back up and work on the top. And so work on the actual like bookcase and the plaque that 2021 is on and that kind of thing. And then I'll feel like I accomplished a bit more because I'm actually filming this early. I'm filming this before I've really done anything. So my temperature bookcase, and I'm really, really happy about it. And I love how colorful it is, but new color, yay. And that is being stitched on a 100% linen yardage from fabricstore.com in the called for DMC, which I keep on this cardboard floss keep that I have the temperatures and colors written on. So that way I can use it again next year. And it is in my book bag that I made at the beginning of the year. And I really need to make more project bags. I have all sorts of lovely fabric to make project bags. I need to make more project bags. But that is my temperature bookcase, my temperature library. The other thing I've been working on this week is my Stitch Mayhem Lindy Stitches Hedgehog Quilt. Tony the Stubborn Stitcher came up with an interesting Stitch Mayhem plan. And the mayhem part of it is that you do a craft that you've never done before, or that is really outside of your comfort zone. And she decided to try freehand embroidery, which is what I do. And she is working on that, and it's looking pretty good. And I decided to take a cross stitch pattern, namely Lindy Stitch's Hedgehog House, and turn it into a mosaic quilt. So I've been working on that slowly. I've decided to hand stitch it all because I want it to be enjoyable and relaxing, and I can do that while I'm watching Flosstube, while I'm listening to a book, whereas with my sewing machine, I can't actually hear anything when I'm sewing. And also because the pieces are so small, I kind of want to make sure, I want more control over them. So this is my progress. I am stitching them together in horizontal strips that I will then sew together. And I have 6 strips. So this is what's left. So this is the strips at the bottom and then the kind of pieced together quilt. It is living on my dining room table on a piece of felt that can be moved around without disturbing it. So it's actually a pretty decent system, I have to say. It was pretty smart of me to do that. But I think it's coming along, and it'll be a while, but you know, it's a hand-pieced mosaic quilt. But I'm really excited with it, and it is my Stitch Mayhem 2021 project. And I expect it'll be done in 2021. I'm a product stitcher, so I like finishing things. I don't like having things sit around. If something's been sitting around for a long time, it's probably because it's never going to get stitched. I enjoy the process of stitching, but I really like having a product at the end. And I think that is all of the stitching that I've done this week. But I feel like that was a good bit of stitching, so I'm pretty happy about that. So let's talk about giveaway. As usual, when I have a cross stitch or embroidery pattern that I have completed or am about to complete, I like to give a copy of it away. Now it is a PDF, it will be a PDF pattern. It will be Pattern Keeper compatible. And so I would like to give away a copy of my Sea Monsters sampler. And I will email it to you. It will be an emailed PDF pattern so it can go anywhere around the world. Please be 18. Please be a subscriber. Please don't say giveaway or free or all that stuff. And leave a comment down below with the word ship. Ship. I'll do the random comment picker, and I will do that before my Flosstube on Friday, which I think will be, so we'll say noon on Friday. So if you get a comment in by noon on Friday, you're guaranteed entry into this giveaway. And if you comment afternoon on Friday, if you may still be in if I haven't drawn yet, right? So that's kind of that would be a crapshoot, right? So if you're interested, to recap, my dog just walked in and distracted me, so I forget what I said. To recap, if you'd like a PDF copy of this pattern when it is released on Friday, then please put ship in the comments. If you do not win, it will still be available on my Etsy shop for you to buy if you are interested in stitching it. That's what I want to say. So that's my giveaway. Let's talk Happy Mail. I have 2 pieces of Happy Mail that I want to talk about. One little Happy Mail and one really big Happy Mail. Really big Happy Mail. The first bit of Happy Mail is from embroidery.com, and they host a stitching challenge in February, and it's called the Love to Stitch Embroidery Challenge. And essentially, those of you who are following me in February heard about this, and essentially what you have to do is stitch for 30 minutes a day 24 of the 28 days in February, post on their Facebook page and a picture of your start and finish. So it has to be like, and use the hashtag. So you have to like stitch every day, show proof, whatever. And if you do that, you can get a needle minder. And I, of course, did that because I stitch every day. And so I got a little Love to Stitch 2021 needle minder. So that's exciting. But the interesting thing though is that this is a metal piece and I got 2 magnets, but the 2 magnets are stuck together. And none of them are glued to the metal piece. So I'll have to figure that out and either glue it or use one of the magnets for something else. So that's my Love to Stitch needle minder from embroidery.com. The second happy mail I got is a little bit unbelievable. I gotta be honest with you. It's from my friend Jennifer, and she hosts the Zoom stitching that I'm going to do later on. And she decided that she wanted to send me stitchy kindness, stitchy happy mail. She sent me this card with this with this ridiculous chipmunk, right? And the back is another piece of corn. And I think, let's back up. Everyone in this stitchy group is desperate for me to start stitching a Haid. They are so excited that I am like doing cross stitch that they want me to like stitch all the things. And so Jennifer has obliged this wish and has been incredibly generous by sending me a bunch of stitchy fabric. She also sent me this amazing tote bag, which is amazing, and I love it. And I will be using this all the time. It makes me really happy. I love this. She sent me a XJU design silk in, I'll turn it this way, in faded green, which is gorgeous. And it's funny because I was just thinking, like, green is one of those colors that you don't get in silk bundles, right? So I get a silk of the month from BeStitchMe. This kind of green doesn't come very often. So this is really exciting. That'll be definitely used for something. And then she sent me all sorts of fabrics. So she sent me a 40 count even weave, BeStitchMe 40 count even weave in the color Cobbler. Sorry about the glare, but I'm keeping it in the package. There you go. Which is like this beautiful purpley mottled color. This looks like a 14 or 16 count Aida. I like Aida, so that's nice. I can work on that. A 40 count Fortnite Fabrics, kind of mottled neutrally color. A linen. This is a linen. It doesn't have a color on it. A 32 count Lugana called April Showers from BeStitchMe. A nice sort of, it doesn't have a label on it, but it's definitely a linen because it has the slubs, but it's good for like aged things and Halloween things. So like my Danse Macabre that I did last Halloween would have looked great on this. A 30 count barley corn linen that's very stiff, which is kind of nice since I stitch in hand. I like that stiffness. This is another linen, and here we go. A 30 count Mariner's Map Legacy linen. And then this is an enormous piece of a like off-white even weave. I think this is an even weave. I don't know what count. I'm not good enough to just be able to look at something. And like when I look at Flosstubers and they just look at it and are like, oh, this is the 36 count. I'm like, that's magic. So I don't know what counts those are. But I'm basically set for a very long time for stitching because I'm kind of slow, but I do have that Stitch magazine that has all those patterns in it. And I won another giveaway from today from Janet Jabber, which I don't know how this works because I've never won a giveaway before. And in the past 3 weeks, I've won 3 giveaways. It's mind boggling. So that is my happy mail. And I'm really excited about I'm really excited about those. And I kind of want to do like a 1/1 on that 40 count. Like I want to do like wild, small, tiny little things and just see, well, my eyes still work because my eyes are bad and they're just kind of getting worse. And if I'm ever going to do it, it's going to have to happen now. So I kind of want to do that and find like a, I don't know, find a thing to stitch that's really, that I can make really tiny. I think that would be really fun. So we'll see. We'll see what I do with these. You'll see what I do with these in the next few months and years, I think, because I'm excited. So thank you, Jennifer, so much. That was very generous of you and unnecessary, but really, really appreciated. And if your goal was to get me thinking more about cross stitching, then you've succeeded. So congratulations. Maybe I need to do like a long dog, because then it's like one. Well, I'll have to think about it, because it's the confetti and the color change that freak me out. But the long dogs are like one color. And I have all sorts of fun variegateds back there. You'll see what I do with it. Let's talk briefly about haul. I don't have a lot. Basically my 2 thread clubs came in this week. And so I have a color and cotton thread club, and then I have a BeStitchMe silk thread club. So let's do color and cotton first because it's out. And the colors are dried lavender, which is beautiful, French blue, Viridian, which is a green. But these are all very dusty. I really like them. Alchemy, feeling very medieval. Viridian and Alchemy made me feel very medieval. And glazed carrots, which does not make me feel medieval because medieval carrots were not orange. Medieval carrots were white and purple. Maybe we can talk about carrots some other time, but orange carrots were a propaganda move. On that note, I was going to leave it at that. We'll talk about carrots later. The other club I belong to, like I said, is BeStitchMe, Silks of the Month, and they are Sunflower, Sunfire, Fire, and then Phoenix. Oh no, Carnelian, which is like in between. Oh, that's nice. Look at that. Look at that difference. I love that. Carnelian and then Phoenix. And so the colorway this month was Phoenix, is what it said on the package. And so these all went into that. But let's look at these colors together. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Here, we'll put. Isn't that lovely? So nice. So this is the Phoenix colorway. I think I might need to start thinking about maybe reducing, maybe getting rid of one or both of those, because I'm filling up a little bit back here. That's where I keep my specialty flosses, and I've only been stitching with specialty flosses for less than a year. So, you know, I don't have a ton. That's all I have, and whatever's in kits. But I think that maybe I need to take a little break. So we'll see. We'll see how I feel. That's all of my haul and all my stitchy kindness. And I think we can just talk about plans. I would like to, like I said, finish the Sea Monsters sampler and finish my Lonely Mountain. I would like to get more done on my temperature bookshelf. I would like to at least start stitching my bear, and I would like to do the fraying on the scarf. That's what I would like to get done. Oh, and I'd like to get done a couple more rows of my Lindy Stitches hedgehog quilt. I think that that's all doable. I will be adding more work into my work week because I do need to start working on this book, which I'll talk about next week. My Tuesday video is going to be about my book, so you can maybe help me out with my book progress. But also keep trying to take care of my mental health and make myself feel good and give myself joy and that kind of a thing. I'm trying to find a balance here in this new world we live in, which feels old and new and confusing. I think that that's it from me. This feels like a very long one, and I don't know how much I'll edit out, but I'm happy ending it here. So I hope that you all have a great stitchy week. Thanks so much for joining me. And with all that being said, please take good care of yourselves and have a good one. Bye.